Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Leah Patterson, and I am the Northside Ohio River Program Coordinator for Literacy Pittsburgh. Thank you for joining us today for our tutor talk on college pathways. Joining us today, we have my colleague, Program Coordinator Miguel Diaz, who will be providing in-depth information about college pathways and answering any questions you may have. Miguel, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Leah. So I want to start off by saying College Pathways is a new program here at Literacy Pittsburgh. I'm going to go into depth into how we develop the programming and what we are hoping to cover and who we are hoping to reach. Hopefully, if anybody has any questions or anything, I am going to put my contact information at the end. Feel free to uh, screenshot that or that down. All right, so let's start off. I'm going to be sharing my screen with you guys for the presentation, and hopefully you could see it now. A slideshow. Sorry, I only have one screen, so things are in the way for now. All right, are you guys able to see my presentation? Okay. All right, so yeah, I wanted to come on here and update you guys a bit on college pathways. Please ignore the date on that. I was reusing one of our other slides. So a little bit about myself. My name is Miguel Diaz, as Leah said. I have been with Literacy Pittsburgh since January of 2021. I was previously a program coordinator in one of the areas, similar again to Leah, but I was a program coordinator for the Jefferson Mon Valley area, which is sort of um, southeast of Pittsburgh. And now I am currently working as a program coordinator for the college pathways programming, which I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about today. And we might skip this one for now. Um, but I assume that if you're on this call, you are working with a either an ESL student or a GED student in the areas, tutoring them in one of those two tracks. College Pathways is a little bit different because it is somewhere uh, it kind of follows any of those two tracks, right? So we have GED students, we have ESL students, but what happens when those students want to move on and possibly go into college, higher education, or maybe they're from a different country and they want to pick up their studies, continue their studies here in the United States? What happens to those students? And this is the reason why we developed College Pathways. So College Pathways is a track for students interested in going to college. Uh, and it's a track that students can participate regardless of whether or not they're in the tutoring areas like you guys, or if they're taking classes here in our downtown office. This is something that they can do either on top of their current studies or something that they can exclusively dedicate themselves to. We launched our first College Pathways class in April of this year. Some of you guys may have heard some about it, but I'm here to sort of reiterate and kind of give you guys an update as to where we're at. And again, College Pathways is a set of classes that the students can choose from. If their intention is to eventually attend a college or university, we want them to be better prepared, and these classes hopefully will lead them to that. Many of our students, as I've mentioned, expressed interest in attending college. This is true for both our ESL and our GED students. Additionally, many of our local colleges, when we spoke to them, they mentioned to us that there was a need for a better prep for students. So we wanted to not only touch on our base here, which are students, but if anybody in the community is interested in receiving more college readiness services, we want to fill that gap and we want to ensure that any students who are participating in higher education, community colleges, etc., uh, are better prepared for this. We did take surveys and we considered the opinions of both our current students as well as local colleges as to what we should offer for students here at Literacy Pittsburgh. These opinions and surveys were conducted in late 2024. We conducted polls, focus groups, we exchanged emails with students as well as partner colleges. In total, we had about 110 different interactions with students as to what they wanted to see here at Literacy Pittsburgh. This is a bit of the demographics, of who we reached. Uh, they were, for the most part, current students either participating in classes or tutoring. They were also possibly waiting on a tutor or a class. That's what we call here at Literacy Pittsburgh our wait list. And we also have had some people who were former students who maybe there wasn't a track or a place available for them. Again, prior to college pathways, Literacy Pittsburgh focused on GED or ESL material, but this was a place where some of our students felt like we could support them, and we wanted to definitely meet that opportunity, and which is again why we decided to roll out college pathways. Some of the different topics that students considered they would need help with were these: how to pick a college, study skills for college, FAFSA and financial aid was a huge one, how to apply for college, and how to look for scholarships and grants. From what we saw, the biggest kind of areas of need for students was how to look for scholarships, how to deal with financial aid. Those are some things that obviously here at Literacy Pittsburgh we before we didn't touch on, we didn't consider. We definitely in our college pathways development, we made sure to reach out to people who were experts in some of these areas. This is sort of a what we just talked about, summary of that. All right, so in April of this year, as I mentioned, we launched our first class. The class was called Thinking About College, and it focused on the previous topics that I just pointed out. How to look for scholarships and grants, how to pick a college, financial aid, study skills, and although some students still needed help with the application itself, it's not what I anticipated from our population, from our students. A lot of them knew how to fill out the application itself. However, they did want sort of someone else to work through the application with to feel a bit more confident once submitting it. So we try to incorporate some of those things into our student services team. Students can meet with our student services team if they are in that step of their college journey. We can help them with sort of hitting that submit button. As I mentioned, when we first did our outreach to students as well as colleges did give us several topics and areas that we could include in some of our classes. Uh, this is where getting ready for college came up. So we'll talk a little bit more about this class in a moment. But unlike the first class, the Thinking About College, which focused on just general admissions topics, financial aids, applications, how to choose a college, etc. Getting ready for college focused on the soft skills, so study skills, class expectations, um, how to use proper etiquette in emails for college, etc. This is the formal or the official description for the Thinking About College class. It is the first course in Literacy Pittsburgh's College Pathways track that helps students feel comfortable with college admissions topics. Students explore their interest in college by participating in a series of workshops, presentations conducted by Literacy Pittsburgh staff and external partners. Topics of focus include college search, financial aid, admissions, placement exams, as well as navigating support in college. So the idea was for this first class to bring in presenters from outside, whether it be the schools themselves financial aid officers or other people who were experts in those fields to come into class here at Literacy Pittsburgh and deliver that information to our students. We felt that hearing it from the experts would encourage students to feel more confident in applying, in filling out these things, as well as give them the opportunity to have their questions answered directly from the experts. So this is sort of the gist of the first class. Here's a breakdown of the presenters that we had for the first April class. We did some digital skills work. We also had the Financial Empowerment Center here at Literacy Pittsburgh. We had a member of FIA, which focuses on financial aid, come and deliver and answer questions for our students about FAFSA, about grants, and about scholarship searches. We also had and I'm skipping over some of them, but also somebody from CCAC talking about placement exams at CCAC. We took students on a campus tour at Point Park University. This was for many of our students a first-time experience, and we want to expose our students to this type of programming so that they feel more confident, that they gain a bit more trust in themselves, and see college and universities as a possibility for themselves. And I've sort of alluded to this a little bit, but we wanted to invite the experts here at Literacy Pittsburgh. I am definitely not a financial aid expert. I am learning more and more as I'm kind of developing in this position. However, we do have people whose jobs, sort again, FIA, their jobs is financial aid exclusively. Hello, Leah. I think I lost you guys for a second.
Yep, we're here. You appeared frozen on my end, but up to
Okay.
that point, yeah, we were hearing everything. I was
Okay.
at least hearing everything.
Okay. Let's get back to it.
There we go.
Okay. All right. In this class, I was pretty intentional about making it as similar to a college course as possible. I distributed, a syllabi for students. Uh, I listed out expectations, classroom expectations, my contact information, how to reach me. And I did give students an outline as to what we expected from each speaker and gave them a place to continue to do some note taking and jot down any questions or thoughts they might have. So it was a very fun sort of course, first class for students. I think it gave them a little bit of exposure to what a college setting might look like. That's something that we're trying to do, at least for our college pathways class, so that students become a bit more accustomed to that sort of pattern, that sort of routine in their lives. For the first class, the Thinking About College class, we invited NRS students. This was for a couple of reasons. One being if they were studying for their GED. This class would not interrupt their flow or their momentum while working on their GED. NRS 3 students, and if you have any questions about that NRS level, feel free to ask your program coordinator, or you can even reach out to me and I can sort of look on our back end to see your student's level. This NRS 3 level is where we see students passing their GEDs. If they are not if they haven't passed it yet, they're getting there with a bit more support. This is a good level for students to start thinking about sort of next steps after they get their GED. So again, if you have any questions about NRS level, feel free to reach out to your program coordinator and we can kind of give you a sense as to where they're at. Another thing, if a student wasn't a GED student, but they were an ESL student, NRS 3 level would give us insight into their reading, the reading skills. And obviously, since College Pathways deals with a college enrolling in a university or a higher education institution, we want to make sure that students are sort of at that level where they can see themselves in a college setting. If a student were an NRS 1 student and they are interested in college, we would prefer that they focus sort of on those more basic reading skills before they take these courses. But again, if you guys have any questions about NRS level, feel free to message me or message your program coordinator about this, and we can give you a bit more insight to let you know where your student is at. So the first round went pretty well. We had Uh, I think the students really learned quite a bit. I conducted some surveys, and students definitely felt like they learned. They felt a bit more calm about their sort of interest and their decision to apply to college. In some cases, students felt like they understood the process a bit better. Now, that may be meant for them that they would wait and work on their GED, right? So, uh, but at least they had the information as to what to do once they obtained that. Um, we had one student from our first cohort successfully enroll and start classes. Actually, yesterday was his first day, I believe. Is that the second? Yes. And that was sort of a win for me and for our programming, seeing one student finally go on to CCAC and start classes in IT. Our plans are to have these classes be reoccurring. So, as I mentioned, our first cohort was started in April. We took that through sort of the summer. The next set of classes will be starting soon. September 16th is actually the first date of class. This will be an online cohort. They will meet Tuesdays and Thursdays online from 10 to 12 p.m. Again, we are looking here for an NRS 3 student who is interested in going to college, whether it be whether they're ready to apply now or they're a GED student or ESL who is just thinking about the possibility of going to college. We want to encourage them to apply for this class. Again, if you have any questions about NRS level, make sure to touch base with your program coordinator, and they could give you more information. So yeah, the class will be starting this September 16th. We are going to be having hopefully another cohort starting in the spring. So if your student is not yet ready, they're still working on GED, they're still working on ESL, or maybe they don't make that NRS 3 cut and they want to just focus on a bit more basic reading skills, that is okay. We are going to be offering these sets of courses in the fall, hopefully in the spring as well as in the summer. There will be another run. I had sort of talked a little bit about this getting ready for college. So, like I said, when we consulted with colleges and universities, they let us know that some of their students m might still need a bit more support with dealing with student expectations in the classroom or study skills for college. This is where we developed the Getting Ready for College class that focused on these areas that in which students still needed additional support. Some of the skills that we touched on in the Getting Ready for College class were time management, study skills, academic performance, computer skills, as well as financial. And this could mean this is not necessarily financial aid anymore. This is more how do I afford my books? How do I afford my living while in college, right? So they can get their tuition more likely than not some of it covered through financial aid, but once in school, what happens and how can they thrive in school, considering that they have they might have to work fewer hours, etc. So these are some of the things that we talked about in the second course, the getting ready for college. And this is the description for the second course. Again, it included the topics such as time management, organizational skills, study strategies, writing practice, etc. Feel free to pause this you are watching the recording. All right. So for next steps, if your student is interested in this, if maybe they're not ready, but in the future they will be, or they want to start thinking about some of these things. We are going to be having cohorts several times a year, again in the fall, in the spring, and hopefully in the summer. Please keep an eye out for any of my announcements. If you guys receive anything from me, anything from your program coordinators, which they often share some of my flyers, some of my classes with you guys. Feel free to take a look at those flyers. And you can also reach me directly at, here's my email, mdiaz@literacypittsburgh.org. I know I talked a bit about the NRS level and the NRS level we're thinking about, but what I can do on my end is if you have your student has expressed some sort of interest in college, just reach out to me. I can look at their specific situation. In many cases, we don't have all the testing we could have on students. So, for example, if your student is an ELL student, ESL student, we might have a speaking test, but not a reading test. And so I can go ahead and set them up with a reading test to get more information. That way, if your student is specifically interested in college, we can start them on that track, getting some practice with their basic reading skills, etc. So yeah, feel free to reach out to me regardless of your student's level. Um, this track is still a work in progress, so we're still learning from some of our classes, some of our students. We want, again, if a student's not yet ready, that's okay, but we still want to get them excited about the upcoming opportunities. If it's not their time yet to join these classes, we want them to still know that, they're working towards a goal. They're working towards possibly joining some of these classes and eventually, going on to college. We want to create kind of that excitement, especially since this track is pretty new and most of our students or tutors are not aware of it. And if for example, your student is already in the process of applying on their own, which in many cases I have seen already, that's fine. We encourage that. We don't need them necessarily to be part of these courses, but if they do want some help or they want somebody to kind of look over their application or answer some questions for them, uh, obviously I'm here to assist them with that. And some of our student support team is also here to support them with that. So they don't have to exclusively be part of our college pathways track to receive any, higher education services. Just refer them to me or to our student support system, and then we can help them out with that. And here's my contact information in case you want to reach me, learn more about the programming, maybe even receive some of the flyers for any upcoming classes. I can make sure to put you on a newsletter so that you can receive those materials. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Miguel. I just wanted to say thank you for taking time out today to present the information for college pathways. And certainly, if we have any inquiries or anyone that comes to us that has additional information, we'll be sure to connect you with them. So we thank you for providing your information for those purposes. So
Of
I'm going
course.
to
Thank you.
stop recording.